I've started my Azure VM. I have my Hyper-V manager running and pfSense is running. So you can see pfSense over here. I'm running that because I might want an internet connection later for my Windows server. Today we're going to be doing a backup. And what we need to do first for a backup is we need to have a place to back up to. When we set up with Windows Server, if you remember correctly, there was only one hard disk on it. In order to do a backup, we need to back up to a destination. These days, for the most part, backing up is done to the cloud, or even if you're on premises, you'll back up to like a network attached storage. But we're going to kind of do it the classic way because it just makes the most sense for us. So we're going to simulate here a way that this Windows server, we might have basically bought an extra disk, or we may have like a hot pluggable hard disk, and we'll just sort of simulate that. So here's a Windows server, it's off. I'm going to go into settings and I need a new disk. So here's the disk that we had. I need to add a new one. So this was the base disk. I need one that's the same size because I want the backup to at least hold as much as the main disk. I need a hard drive here, make sure that's hit, and then I hit add. I'm going to hit a new one here. So if I hit new, and this one we're going to do a wizard. So I want the dynamically expanding. This is just fine. This is normally, notice it says not disk intensive. Anyway, small file. This is a little better. So we are going to start running out of space if we're not careful here. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to delete this and change the name. This is going to be called server backups. Okay, so server backups will be the name of the disk, and I hit next here. I want to make sure I don't use a massive amount. This, by the way, the 127 that's already listed is this that it's sort of creating by itself. So there isn't an actual 127 yet. So I'm putting 32 in here. I'm hitting next, 32 gigs, and I hit finish. It takes just a second. Once I hit OK, I have that disk attached to my Windows server. Now I can connect and I can start my Windows server with that new disk on it. And I've got this popping up. This might have popped up this time because I just added that new disk, but either way we want to start up Windows Server 2016. It will kind of, well, we'll see in a minute what it looks like when we do this stuff. All right, so we need to log in, Control-Delete. I'm going to type in my password, enter, and we got to wait just a second for the server manager to start up. All right. We'd have to wait a little more. Don't forget we have like IIS running, and I want to make sure everything is sort of ready to go before I get this started. So we're just waiting a minute. It's doing this little pulsing up here, which is fine. All right. Oops, thinking for a minute. 5 services, 2 events, and now we're ready to go. Right, I need backup. Backup is a feature. So I hit add roles and features. I'm going to hit next. Role-based is fine. I'm going to install it on this server. That's next. Now it's not a role, it's a feature. So I don't know if you remember, the server is a role, the internet server is a role. There it is right there, Windows Server Backup. So we need to check this box and hit next. And then I hit install. Hopefully this will only take a minute. I'm going to watch this. Notice that it is possible to close this wizard, but I'm just going to watch it. If it takes too long, I'll pause or like clip that section out of this video, so be ready for that. Nope, boom, we're ready to go. So now I hit close, installation is exceeded. I hit close here. And now if I look in here, the Windows Server Backup is ready. We're not ready to do that yet. First, I need to set up the disk. So I'm going to go to Computer Management. we already attached the disk, but it has to be sort of attached. So it's almost like if you plug in a new disk into a server, it kind of like it doesn't immediately start using the disk for a good reason. I mean, I don't know if you understand, like that would be a big major thing. So here we go here. I'm going to hit cancel here. And this, it looks like it's actually a little ahead of the game on what we would normally have. Where it says disk 1 unknown, typically this will say offline. So I'm just going to click here offline. When you first add it, it should say offline. So mine got a little glitchy and I had to do some stuff and go back. But now we're going to say it's offline. When I see it's offline, I'm going to right click and I'm going to say online. Then I'm going to right click again and say initialize disk. When I initialize it, it needs to be under this GUI ID, globally unique identifier partition table. Don't pick master boot record. Even though it says the GTP is not recognized by all previous versions of Windows, this is previous versions of Windows like Windows 95, Windows NT5. Like this is old Windows. So master boot record is like super old school. I mean, GPT is great. So I'm going to hit OK here. It is now online, and I got space here. This is unallocated. Yours might also say uninitialized. You might have to go here, right click, and say initialize disk. But I do want a new simple volume here. I'm going to hit next. This is setting the partitions, and I could do multiple partitions, but I just want to use the whole disk. So here I'm going to hit next. I'm going to assign it drive letter E. That's great. I do want to format the volume, and I want to use NTFS, so NT file system. This is the current sort of Windows state of the art. By the way, there's a couple on here. FAT32 is something else too, like an old school thing that works on Macs too, and I don't know what REFS is, but we don't need that. I'm going to hit a volume label. Just for kicks, I'll label this volume. I'll just call it server backups. And this doesn't matter much. When I hit next and finish, it will appear. It's going to format it here, and it'll say server backups. And anyway, that just says it's sort of ready to go to be used for a server backup. Now, I'm done in computer management, so I'm going to close out computer management. I'm going to go into tools now, and I'm going to do Windows Server Backup. If you're one of my students, you do need to do some research on sort of like how you back up stuff, where you back it up. There's things about types of backup. I want you to sort of understand what Windows Server Backup does. For those of you that are just watching this to find out backup, basic idea of a Windows Server Backup is it'll make a backup of the whole disk, like as a first thing. And then it'll, for a few days at least, it will back up just what's been changed. And then every once in a while, it'll do a new backup. So I notice here no backup has been configured. Notice over here we have 3 options. One of the things is I can't recover because there's no backup done yet. I don't want to back up once because I want to do a schedule first. If I do a schedule first, then I can back up once using the scheduled options. If I just back up once, I have to type in and do a bunch of wizardy stuff again and again. So I'm going to hit backup schedule. And one of the things here is I'm in a weird time zone. In fact, you'll notice here this computer is in a different time zone than this computer, which I'm just going to leave it for now. And I'm going to have this backup. Right now it's 9:34 a.m. according to this computer. And I'm going to run it for purposes of this, I'm going to go ahead and run it at 10 o'clock as my scheduled backup. So I'm going to go ahead. Here's my wizard. I'm doing a backup schedule. Hit next. I want to back up the full server. I'm going to hit next. And it will do some nice options here. Here's the time of day. If this was a real computer, a server, it would be up all the time. And so you typically do backups at night. Since I'm just running this in a VM, I'm going to do it just once a day, time of day. Notice here, by the way, you can do it more than once a day, and sometimes people really want like the server to have like the backup to be really, really recent, and you can back it up basically every half hour. Is there a half hour in here? Yes, there is. I missed it though. All right, 10 o'clock a.m. is what we're going to do. I'm going to back up to a hard disk that is dedicated for backups. That's us. Notice here we can back up to a volume. A volume means it will, remember when we did that partition thing, I could actually partition a disk, part of it being the backup and part of it being used for something else. That's actually kind of a bad idea. Notice here you don't store other server data on the same, I mean a backup is supposed to be separate. Backup to a shared network folder, this one makes a good sense too, because you're going to back up to another place. This is interesting too. You only have one backup at a time because when you create a new backup, it overwrites the previous backup. This is interesting idea too. For now, we're going to do this one. It does have a couple of, one of the options that's cool is it almost works like the Apple time machine where you can pick, if you're recovering, you can pick a certain date in the past, but that's what we're doing here. Back up next. All right, notice here it says no internal disks are found. I do need to go in here and say show all available disks because it's actually recognizing that drive E was like going to back up. So it was thinking that was part of the server. If I check this box, it's gonna say drive E is where we're gonna do the backups and it's gonna have to take it off that list. So when I hit OK here, it's going to say I need to check this box again, and I hit next, and it will say you've included this in the list of items to be backed up. That's because before we said back up everything, and then it's basically saying do you want to remove this volume from the backup, and that is indeed what we want to do. So drive E was it's completely empty, it's ready to go for backups. When I hit OK, it will note here the selected disk is going to be reformatted and all the volumes and data. So it's basically going to make one large volume in the whole disk. At that point, I don't know if you remember, we formatted it and partitioned it, and this actually says it's deleting the partition, but if I recall correctly, you have to have it partitioned. But anyway, here we go. Yes, I'm going to hit yes, and we're ready to go. This says we're going to back up at 10 p.m. Files excluded or none, and then we're going to hit finish. So I'm going to hit finish right now. It's going to erase that drive E and basically have it ready to do the backups. It puts a little event in the event manager that it's going to run at 10. And now I can hit close here. And now I can hit backup once because I actually want a backup. I'm going to back it up right now. And notice here I say schedule backup options. If I do different options, I have to go through basically that whole process again. That's why I did that schedule first. So I hit next here, I am ready to go, and now I hit backup. It's going to do a little bit of thinking. These first backups, one of the things it does, this shadow copy, is the current way that Windows does it is you can back up the disk or the server while things are being run on it. Back in the old days, you could only back up stuff that wasn't in use. And the way it backs up everything is it makes an extra copy of everything, or at least the stuff in use. And so here we go. We got some simple sort of backups that we need to do. This EFI system partition will be pretty short because that was a very small partition. The local disk, this is the one that should take the longest. And let me just see what's going to go on here. Okay. So notice here we have about 15 gigabytes. It'll take a minute to back up. All right, but what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to stop this video right now. Or should I? Yes, I'm going to stop this video right now. And that's because we're doing our backup. We got 10% of the backup done, and I don't think you need to watch till the end. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to let this finish. I'm going to hit close right now. It's running a backup. You can see that it's doing the backup here. When we come back, hopefully I'm going to let it keep running, and I'm going to actually have it do both the backup I just clicked on the backup once, and that scheduled backup at 10 o'clock, just so you can see that there's 2 backups scheduled. So we're in the process of doing this backup, and there's a next scheduled backup there. But the video is going to stop, and this video will just be the backup video.